Well, I'm just coming along today because of animal rights. I just think it's damning on the government that as regards pet dogs being stolen for puppy farms, the sentences given out at the moment are extremely light. I just want to see a change to that they get a proper sentence, a stiff sentence, because as I said, pet dogs are a part of the family. They truly have feelings, and they're being stolen from their homes and locked up in puppy farms and treated in the most vile manner, and I just wanted to see a change to the law in that regards.
And I think this is your first time coming to an animal welfare demo.
It's my first time attending an animal rights demonstration. As I said, I've been very much vocal in this, saying that people should have more regard for animal rights, but trust me, in a sense I've been too lazy myself to come out and attend these demos. So I'm here today to actually put some of my values into action, and I just want to see hopefully a good turnout, and hopefully the government will pay attention and change things and bring out proper sentences for these crimes against dogs. As I said, they truly have feelings, and we just want to see proper stiff sentences given out, not the light sentences that are given out for these crimes as they stand. And as I said, I'm talking in relation to pet dogs being stolen for puppy farms. As I said, it's damning.
Yeah, I'm Catherine Woods. I'm an animal activist, animal volunteer at Husky Rescue Ireland, and I'm a trapper at Cat Protection.
And where are Husky Rescue Ireland based?
They're based in Laois, and he takes in every Akita, Husky, German Shepherd, Malinois, all the big breeds that a lot of the other rescues won't touch. And we home check, neuter, home check, and make sure that the owner is suitable for the dog. And we're all volunteers.
Okay, and what made you decide to come here to this demo for World Animal Day?
Yeah, because I'm an animal activist and I've been vegan for a long time, vegetarian my whole adult life. Animals are not ours to use, exploit, abuse in any shape or form. The world needs to go vegan. Every pandemic came from animal consumption. Every sickness is from animal consumption. Animals are not ours to abuse, use, ride, make profit from, breed off. It all has to stop.
Okay, and are you involved or connected with the whole story about dogs getting stolen?
Oh yeah, we absolutely advocate dogs should be in your home. We won't home check. We won't allow a dog to live in a home that's left outside. Why bother? Why have a dog? Dogs have to be in your home, safe at all time. You know, again, nobody should be able to access a dog unless you are home checked by a rescue. You will be stringently home checked to make sure you have the experience, the IQ, the intelligence to keep your dog in the home and safe. Nobody should have a dog. No dog should be out in a garden or at the back. That's half of what's wrong. But the penalties for animal abuse in this country are appalling. There's horses around that corner, and they're standing for 24 hours in a row. And we have legislation that they're supposed to be checked. No such thing. 24 hours those horses are used for tourists. Nightclubs, early morning breakfast runs. You see them mistreating the horses. We can't get the wardens out. We can't get the people to come out and do their jobs. We need 1,000 more wardens in the country. We need imprisonment for animal abuse.
And there's a lot of dogs getting stolen.
Oh, absolutely. It's terrible. There's a big... since the pandemic, there's a big business. But again, people shouldn't be buying dogs. If people stop buying dogs, the stealing would stop. You know, keep your dogs in your home and safe. It's like it's a no-brainer, you know.
My name is Fred Mahon, and I work for T.N.R. West Dublin. So we're a rescue group that look after pups and dogs and cats and stuff like that.
And where are you based in West?
Based in Clontarf.
Okay, and what made you decide to come to this demo here today?
My love for animals. I just love dogs. I've 8 of my own dogs. I've had 17 dogs in the house. And just what I'm seeing going around, some of those puppy farms and some of the stuff that's going on, it's just something needs to be done. So I came out here to support the people.
And it's a huge problem with dogs getting stolen, isn't it?
Oh, absolutely, yeah. There's been 3 out of our estate in the last 2 weeks. Small dogs, puppy farm dogs as well. They're all getting stolen because they're worth money, and it's crazy. There's so many rescues, the SPCA, the pound, they're all overflowing with dogs. and people are still going out buying dogs when there's so many dogs need to be rescued, you know.
And has anyone ever been caught for stealing dogs, do you know?
Believe it or not, there was one caught last week. I had the dog in my house myself. The police caught him in Lucan, selling the dog, and took it to the station, so we fostered it, and I went to its forever home yesterday.
And what's going to happen to the fellow who's caught, you know?
Probably has about 5 or 6 other convictions under his belt, so it'll be probably a slap in the hand at the best. As you well know, there's a lot of things going on in the world at the moment, especially in Dublin. So with the result, I don't know whether the police hands are tied or not, but there should be more done. You know, people need to be accounted for, you know.
My name is Trudy and I'm from Tallaght.
And what made you decide to come to this demo here today?
Because there's too much cruelty going on all around Ireland, and there's no respect for animals or humans. I think people now really must rescue. They must not buy. And I have rescued dogs. I've always rescued. So that's the reason I'm here, to try and get some laws changed in this country. And, you know, get people locked away for a long time for carrying out such atrocities to innocent animals.
And there's a huge issue with dogs getting stolen.
That issue, yeah, especially during the pandemic, yeah, that was a big issue. I think it's starting to come back again. And but the other thing is that they're breeding dogs, and then they're dumping them. Sometimes they dump them with the pups, and it's just so tragic. It's horrendous. You know.
Yeah, I'm Sandra, and I'm with MADRA Dog Rescue from Galway.
You're based in Connemara, aren't you?
We are out in Camas in Connemara, yeah.
Yeah, I interviewed a lady from your organisation a few months ago on their FM. I can't think of her name off the top of my head. I'm not sure. She's a teacher, a primary school teacher in a special school.
Oh, okay, it could be Grania.
I think it might have, I'm not sure. But what made you decide to come here today?
Well, it's an opportunity for the rescues to come together on a day like today, and especially on World Animal Day, to raise awareness about the abused and neglected dogs in Ireland. We did a recent census that came out just in the Independent from MADRA, contacted all the rescues around Ireland in terms of numbers of homeless dogs in the rescues. Like, we've over 3,200 dogs currently waiting for homes, and not to mention ones waiting to come into us and stuff in rescue. So it's important that we're all here today to stand together, that something needs to be done as well, and it's for the stolen dogs and things like that.
You are the biggest dog rescue in Connacht, aren't you?
No, we have our Galway SPCA as well, so we'd be up there, the two of us together, and that, yeah, we'd have a big...
Okay, do you want to just say something about dogs getting stolen? I'm not sure if you're involved in that area much, are you?
No, we wouldn't come across a huge amount. We get an awful lot, say, that'd be surrendered or left at our gates and that kind of stuff, but we wouldn't have a huge amount.
So what are you calling for exactly, like?
We want more awareness, we want more accountability for people, we want... we're here basically to raise awareness of the amount of dogs that are being left. We want people ownership, proper dog ownership amongst people. We know people are struggling financially and all the rest of it, and tenancy and different things like that. So we need the government to step up as well in terms of landlords, and to allow dogs and that to be staying in their environment. People don't have to give up the dogs to surrender them. We need people to be accountable for the dogs, to get them spayed. We have an awful lot of female dogs, collies and stuff like that are abandoned. Pups are being abandoned left, right. We see an awful lot of that in our own area.
Yeah, my name is Roleland, and I live in Kilcock in County Kildare.
Okay, and what made you decide to come here today?
Well, I'm a friend of the animals insofar as cats, dogs, ponies, horses. In this country, there is no adequate animal welfare provided for by the government. If it wasn't for the voluntary people, the animal rescue people, the Gardaí helping out, we'd be in a sorry state. And I think it is very demoralising to look at a country that considers itself an agricultural country with cattle, sheep and all that goes with it, the horse racing industry, the greyhound industry, and yet we have appalling animal welfare supports in the country.
Yeah, I know, I've heard that a lot in the last few months, and we have a huge issue of dogs getting stolen, don't we?
A huge issue of dogs getting stolen, and I would appeal to people out there not to buy dogs from puppy farms. If you want to get a dog from the rescue centres. There's plenty of them around, and please give them a good home, but please do not buy dogs from puppy farms, because all they're interested in is making money and breeding dogs, and the poor dogs, the mothers of these dogs have a dreadful life in most situations.
Sandra Kelly from Donaghmede.
And what made you decide to come here today, Sandra?
I've been coming to the last few of them, and to support anything to do with the health of animals and to stop animal abuse, and to try and get this thieving of stealing dogs stopped also, because our Buster was stolen on us 5.5 years ago, and I look for him every single day and I won't stop.
And he could be in England, couldn't he?
He could be any England, Spain, wherever they're shipped off to. He could have gone on in one of those vans way back down when he was taken. I don't know. I don't know whether he's north, south, east, west of Ireland or where he is, but I won't stop looking until I know.
Yeah, and Tallaght, being the TD from Aintu, has legislation started in the Oireachtas on dog theft, animal theft. So I presume you're a big supporter of that, yeah?
Absolutely. One of the top supporters of that, yeah. And we need to get these...
Dog robbers.
No, we need to get these...
Laws.
We need to get proper laws in for all... Sorry, I've lost my words there.
Oh.
We need to get these laws changed because it's happening too much, too often. And people are left heartbroken. I mean, your dog is part of your family. You know, and like that, he can be taken away. And I know because it happened to us. And he was. And we're all heartbroken since, and we won't give up on him.
Sorry to hear about Buster. Hope you find him.
Thanks very much. Appreciate that.
Thanks.
I'm Michael. I'm from Dublin. And I'm here to raise awareness for greyhounds.
You have a jumper on your greyhounds as pet, not cheap pet, so you're obviously against greyhound racing, yeah?
Absolutely, 100%, because of the amount of greyhounds that are killed every year. Around 6,000 disappear because they're not fast enough. The amount that are killed in hounds, euthanised in vets for injuries that are not life-threatening injuries, but they're just career-ending injuries. There's greyhounds being left, they break their hock on the track. They're left suffering in kennels over the weekend, brought to a vet's on a Monday or Tuesday for euthanising, and it's just wrong. It's absolutely wrong. I've worked with transporting greyhounds for the last few years. I transport a lot of Irish greyhounds from rescues to UK rescues, and they're just overrun with dogs. It's a terrible, terrible industry. Once they get to 3 or 4 years of age, that's the end of it. Their career is over, and it's a case of they're taking up space. They're taking up kennel space for what they see could be competitive dogs. So they're either dumped into rescues or euthanised. Or just, you know, it's a horrible, horrible plight. And our government supported through taxpayers' money. They claim they made over $1 million in profit this year, but they got a handout of 17 million from the government. So it's a 16 million euro loss. But yet, we're still funding it when over 60% or 66% actually of the population just don't want greyhound racing, don't support it.
Okay, and do any TDs or parties support you?
Paul Murphy does. Some of the independents have been very, very good. Holly Cairns is a great supporter. But see, unfortunately, we have TDs who have vested interest in it. We have Jackie Cathal, he's the manager of Tallaght Stadium, and yet he's the head of the Agriculture Committee. I mean, so when you have people embedded in the government, not a lot is going to change. A lot of rural TDs see it as, rural versus urban. It's not. It's cruelty. It's against cruelty. It's not against rural way of life. It's just purely about the cruelty and the waste of government money.
I did an interview with Bernie Kelly a few years ago talking about this. He's a vegan activist, animal rights activist. We're talking about this greyhound racing, so have covered it before on their FM, you know.
Yeah, it's just as I say, it's just to keep the awareness alive. It's a dying industry. It's an absolute dying industry. They publish attendance figures every year, but they've been caught out in so many things. They were counting trainers and handlers as attendances, you know. So the actual attendances are about 50% of the figures they publish. Plus, you know, there's a huge amount of lies from the industry. Welfare. That's all you hear. But the reality is much different. We were supposed to have 100% traceability. We were supposed to have these care homes. This is 3 years now. They had one care home. That's gone. So, it's all based on lies. So, just here to support greyhounds as pets and, just stop this cruelty. It's a shame of our country.
Okay, my name is Geraldine and I'm a volunteer director with Limerick Animal Welfare.
What made you decide to come here today?
Well, there's a lot of problems with animal welfare. Our country is just very, very bad as regards animal welfare. We have legislation, but it's not followed up. There's no enforcement of a lot of our legislations. Puppy farms worry us a lot. They're not regulated properly. They're getting licensed to breed several hundred bitches or more, which is totally inadequate. And, the pounds, the rescues are full of unwanted animals now, especially after the pandemic when everyone bought their pet and has decided to surrender it now, and the place to go to is the local rescue. So we're inundated and have waiting lists all the time. No, only we're anxious that the public would support us. It's mostly rescues. They're probably going to turn up here today. We know all about it, what's happening, and this bad situation the country's in. We need the public to get behind the rescues as well, help us every way they can, and come out to these demonstrations when they're on.
Hiya, I'm Bernie Wright. I'm from the Alliance for Animal Rights and the Shelbourne campaign. We want to shut down Shelbourne Park racetrack.
What made you decide to come here today?
Well, I heard about it. I didn't organise it or anything, but I just came along because I had a bit of time to come in, support them. It's a good cause. The dogs are having great fun anyway. So I didn't bring my dogs, but it's very needed because so many dogs have been stolen and bad things happening. Even Shelbourne Park, thousands are killed for the racing and the gambling. To be supported by the government, 20 million a year they give to the racing to keep it going.
And you're a long time animal rights and vegan activist,
I am. I'm a long time, probably, hate to say, probably about 50 years of that, yeah. So yeah, I'm vegan, fully vegan. It's the only way to be. If you care about animals, you can't be eating them, So it's sort of simple that way.
Okay, is there anything else you want to say?
Well, just I could say to people, if they do support what we're doing as regards Shelbourne Park and the racetrack, please come down on Saturday nights 6 to 7 and stand with us to try and stop them, maybe change their mind about going in or whatever, because we have them down to a minimum going in. We just need to stop the government giving them 20 million a year. Maybe the homeless would appreciate it a lot better than the racers who are gambling there and bringing in children to it. So shut down Shelbourne Park is what I'm saying.
Hi, my name is Coleman and I'm from Dublin 7.
And you're maybe a candidate for the Party for Animal Welfare,
thinking of running for the Party for Animal Welfare in the local elections next year to highlight the terrible animal abuse that's going on in this country.
Dublin 7, is that Cabra Glasnevin, is it?
No, it's Cabra and Phibsborough and Stony Batter,
right.
North Circular Road.
I went to school in that area, St. Vincent's.
Okay. Okay.
Okay, and are you involved in animal activism long?
Well, on and off, more so in the last year. I've attended a lot of marches and contacted politicians over issues such as hair coursing, which is still allowed in this country, the barbaric practice that it is, and so getting more and more involved.
And the animal rescues are in a terrible position, aren't they?
They're in a terrible position where their heart must be broken because they're actually housing animals in offices at the moment. They don't have any more room, and they know that they're the animals' last hope. So
there's a huge issue of dogs getting stolen, isn't there?
Yeah, there's dogs seem to be stolen to order, and I know there's a bill going through the Dáil at the moment to try and make there be a proper jail sentence for people who rob family pets, because for a lot of people a family pet is obviously the same as a relation to them. So it's very traumatic if the dog is stolen, and It's only a slap on the wrist. So we can only surmise that these dogs are stolen for resale, to be put in to puppy farms, to be made to produce litter after litter, standing in tiny cages, and we can only surmise that some of them go for hunting, or are used in dog fights, or dog baiting and badger baiting and all the disgusting sports that are practiced.
Just before we go talking about the Party for Animal Welfare, do you know how many candidates you're hopeful of standing nationally next year?
Well, at the moment, the numbers have been finalised, and so can't give it an exact number at the moment. But there's a lot going on. There's a lot of work going on. There's a lot of people being canvassed to see if they'd stand.
So we're here from LittleHill Animal Rescue, just to get involved with the march, and just to let people know that we're just sick of the way animals are treated in Ireland, basically.
Yeah, I was in touch with your head there a few months ago. You used to do great work rehousing hens, don't you?
That's right. That's Susan. Yeah. Susan Anderson, LittleHill. So she looks after all the hens and rescuing the hens, the battery hens from the farm.
And how many hens do you have a year, do you know?
Gosh almighty, thousands and thousands. We're in the thousands.
And so I imagine a lot of people do take them, do they?
Yeah. I mean, it's literally tens of thousands, and people all over the country adopt the hens.
Oh.
So it literally saves them from just slaughter, basically. So.
If I was living in a rural area, I'd take some as well, but I live in an estate in Dublin, so I can't really take one,
Well, people in the States do have them. Some people have, all you need is a coop and make sure it's all properly protected.
Yeah. You wouldn't have a lot of space, though, wouldn't you?
Yeah, you little space, but it's a little space, they're only little chickens.
Yeah. Okay, and what made you decide to come here today?
Just we're sick of the way animals are treated in Ireland, the way the government is not, issuing correct rules, and, people are just destroying this country. The abuse, the cruelty from hens to horses, it's everywhere.
The animal rescues like ourselves are inundated, aren't you?
Yeah, we're inundated, and it's just beyond a joke now, completely. And that's why we're making the stand today.
Hi, I'm Jackie Murray, and I'm from Action for Animal Welfare Ireland and Cappanagarrane Horse Rescue.
And where are you based?
Tipperary, near Mahon.
Are you involved in animal welfare rights for long?
All my life. Not only in Ireland, but I've been involved all over the world. And
this particular World Animal Day 2023, what made you decide to come?
Oh, I always come to the animal welfare do on World Animal Day. We've always had, our own group had a protest outside the Dáil 3 years ago, and about 300 people came, which was wonderful.
Yeah.
Thankfully we got good weather as well. So I think it's a day to remember for awareness, when people who haven't got animals don't understand that there is actually a day for it. So
this is my. I've covered a few. I've done a few animal welfare interviews on radio, but this is my first animal welfare day itself to cover. So you saying that for a while now, every World Animal Day there's events on?
Oh yes, every single World Animal Day there's events on, and they're not just in Dublin; they're countrywide. They'd be smaller out the country, all right, because a lot of the country groups come up to Dublin for this.
It's an international day, isn't it?
Oh, it is. It's international. And slightly poignant for me is this is the first anniversary of the day I had to have my 33-year-old pony put down.
Oh, sorry to hear that,
it was because of, for welfare reasons he got put down. 33 years of age, not bad.
That's good.
Yeah.
Very good, yeah. That's amazing. How long do you usually live?
Well, depends on how they're brought up initially. My fella was a rescue at the age of 3. And he'd been very, very badly treated up to that stage. But if they're well looked after, ponies can live up to 40, between 35 and 40, and horses between 25 and 30. So, the bigger ones don't live as long as the little ones.
I didn't know that. Is there anything else you want to say before you go?
Well, good luck to the group here, and I hope we get the laws enforced. We have very good laws in Ireland for animal welfare. There's just nobody to enforce them. And unfortunately, the guards just don't know the laws.
But the penalties for dog theft are not
non-existent. And so many dogs, unfortunately, are still not microchipped, and a lot that are microchipped aren't properly registered, so we'll never find the owners. So you can't do anything about that. So the biggest problem, I think, is the greyhounds and the lurchers, and not just the racing ones. You know, the lurchers have a terrible, terrible life, and nearly every rescue is full of lurchers and greyhounds, which is ridiculous. It's overbreeding and no enforcement of what happens when a greyhound breaks down, or, you know, what do you do with it? You shoot it, or you give it to it, or you leave it stray. That's what happens a lot of the time.
Yeah, it's Martina Kenny, and I'm co-founder of My Lovely Horse Rescue.
And what made you decide to come here today?
Same as everybody else, for the love of animals, and to be their voice, to stop people abusing them and neglecting them and selling them and doing horrible things to them constantly. All animals, not just dogs, cats, dogs, goats, pigs, horses, everything.
I was talking to someone earlier today at a demo, and he was saying that there are horses around Stephen's Green that are working for 24 hours a day, are they?
No, that's not true. They're not 24 hours a day. The guys, the horses in Stephen's Green, some of those guys are good. They look after their horses. They're trying their best. It's the ones that are, getting horses and just ill-fitted horse onto traps and things like that. They're up around Guinnesses. Go up around Guinnesses any day and you'll see a load of them up there. Young kids trying to make money on poor horses that are half-starved, that look terrible, that the cart thing is in bits. It's just not right. And there's good guys out there, but there's probably only about 14 to 16 of them, and that needs to be policed properly.
14 to 16 what?
Good carriage drivers that have made their living from this for the last few years, 20 years or so, and they really try their best. They look after their horses, but as usual in Ireland, it's the bad people that give everybody a bad name, and there's bad guys out there. There must be about 50 carriage horse drivers that are out there that shouldn't be, and it's not right. It's not right.
Okay, is there anything else you want to say?
No, I just think it's great that everybody's come here today. It's a pity an awful lot more didn't come here today, but the ones that did, fair play to them, fair play to everybody.
I'm from WAG Rescue, that's Working Animal Guardians.
Where are you based?
We're a foster-based rescue, so we don't have a central base. We rely on foster people to come forward to help us with our dogs that we rescue.
All right. So you're kind of based around Ireland, you walk on?
Yeah, absolutely. So we're based in Dublin. The members of WAG live in Dublin, but we rely on foster families all around the country to help us.
And what made you decide to come here today?
Well, any opportunity really to get out onto the streets, to try to highlight the grave misjustices that are carried out on a daily basis in Ireland against animals. We'll take that opportunity and we'll march and be the voice of the animals who have no voice of their own.
There's a huge issue of dogs getting stolen as well, isn't there?
Yeah, absolutely. That's always been a factor, a feature in Ireland, dogs being stolen and being then used and abused for breeding, fighting and so on, being sent abroad through Dublin port to Britain. And unfortunately it's a feature of Irish life that a lot of people really probably aren't aware of, but it's something that happens all the time.
But it's got a lot worse since COVID, hasn't it?
Well, I think there's more dogs around since COVID, so there's more of an opportunity for people to do it, especially during COVID. People decided they were lonely at home and they might want a dog, and for a lot of those people it worked out fine, but for a lot of them it didn't. And those dogs then ended up being abandoned or being sent to rescues or being sent to pounds around the country.
So yeah, my name is Pierce and I'm from Kildare Wildlife Rescue.
And whereabouts Kildare is based?
In Kildare town, just beside the village. We have a campus there with Grey Abbey Veterinary Hospital and the Wildlife Rehabilitation Centre directly behind that. So we've 24-hour access to veterinary care, and then we have the rehab facility there where we currently have about 100 animals in care. In July at our peak we had just over 500 animals in care.
So is that what made you come here today?
Yeah, exactly. Just here to support, a more ethical treatment of animals across the board. Ireland is very, very low in the rankings. We're the worst in Europe for biodiversity. In Ireland and the UK, we still allow hunting and hare coursing. That's our national animal, so it kind of is indicative of our general treatment of animals, and I think we could do an awful lot better. Most of the people in Ireland would like us to do an awful lot better, so we're just out here in the streets to kind of promote that concept. So hopefully government will listen and start doing the right thing.
And there's a huge issue of dogs getting stolen, isn't there?
Huge issue of dogs being stolen, and again it falls back to, listen, everybody knows the place is in crisis and the Gardaí are overstretched and everything, we know that, but we do need stronger laws, potentially tougher sentencing, and just generally to change the culture around animal ownership. These are people's pets, they're part of their family, so it can be really damaging when these things when these animals are stolen, and we need to address that and do something about it. So all of the different organisations here today, so many of them, just coming together to basically say the same thing: better treatment of animals, let's take this seriously and get on with it basically.
And now I'm talking to Lisa O'Connor. Lisa, you're the event organiser today. Are you happy with how the day went?
I'm very happy with the event today. Now, we had a great turnout and the weather stayed dry and we got a good bit of media coverage as well, which is great.
Talking to the other people here today, have you got much positive feedback?
Yes, a lot of positive feedback. Everyone's very impressed and I'd like to keep going with this campaign.
Is there any more news in the Oireachtas, do you know?
No, we're still waiting on a date which we hope to get very soon, but hopefully November, Darren. So thank everyone for coming out today and we'll keep going.